Okay, we'll look into the last 14th problem, after which we will be solving your question paper problems. Okay, now this problem is little different when compared to previous problems, so please listen carefully. The position of Basu Limited in liquidation is as follows. They've told it is 1006% preference shares of 100 each fully paid, and there is arrears of dividend which is there for 1 year. It is payable on liquidation. 1000 equity shares of 50 each fully paid, 1000 equity shares of 40 each rupees 30 paid up. Please remember, you have two classes of equity share. Class 1 is also 1000, class 2 is also 1000, but the difference is in the face value. Class 1 is at 50 rupees, class 2 is at 40 rupees. 50 rupees fully paid up, but out of 40 rupees only 30 is paid up, balance 10 rupees is remaining. Calls in arrears is there, calls in advance is there. Cash left after making payment of the creditors but before making any call is 1,16,000. You are required to prepare liquidator's final statement of account. So if you look into this problem, you don't have information on assets realized or your secured creditors, unsecured creditors, preferential creditors. You don't have any such informations. See here, they have directly told you cash left after making payments of creditors, means all the creditors are already paid but before making any call. So what is left out is only your preferential shareholders and your equity shareholders. You have to make payment only for these two people. The rest creditors are already paid. Okay, so we'll just see how you have to do this problem. Same thing. Still now what we pattern that we have followed, the same pattern only. So usually we write cash in hand or cash at bank, but in the problem they have told cash left. So I'll write it as 2 cash left itself. Okay, they have told the cash left is 1,16,000. Then we write surplus from secured creditors, but here we don't have information on that, so that is not written. Then we write assets realized. You don't have information on assets realized also, so that is also left blank. Okay. See, you don't have information on all that. Now two information that is given here is, one is calls in arrears and the other one is calls in advance. Earlier classes itself have told you what is the difference between arrears and advance. Arrears means even after you asking them to pay, they have not paid. Advance means you have not asked but they have paid you the full amount priorly. Much early they have paid the amount, so we call it as advance. Arrears means you have asked them to pay but they still did not pay to you. So that is calls in arrears and calls in advance. Now how do you write this calls in arrears and calls in advance? Your calls in advance and your calls in arrears, calls in advance they have already made you the payment. Calls in arrears they are still not made the payment. So here I will write 2 calls in arrears. Okay, calls in arrears they have given me 4,000. Now why did I write under receipt side calls in arrears? They are supposed to pay me 4,000 but they still did not pay me 4,000. So I am asking them to pay. So I am going to receive 4,000. So that is why I have put it under receipt side. Similarly, where will you write calls in advance? Calls in advance, they have already paid me more amount. So I am returning the extra amount that they have paid me. So that I have to write it under payment side. Now before you write calls in advance, we usually write liquidation expense. There is no liquidation expense. We write liquidator's remuneration. Remuneration information is also not given. Then we write debenture holders. No information is given. Then we write your preferential creditors. That information is not there. Then unsecured creditors. That information is also not there. So since all this information is not given, I am straight away writing my preference shareholders where I have to write the capital. Okay. you don't have any information given before preference shareholders, so I'm directly writing preference shareholders. They've told it is 1000 6% preference shares of 100 each. So 1000 into 100 is 1 lakh, which is a capital that I have to pay. And there is preference dividend which is in arrears. For how many years? For 1 year. So 1 lakh 6% is 6000. Okay. After writing these two, I write calls in advance. Calls in advance information given is 6000. So calls in arrears should come under the receipt side. Calls in advance should come under the payment side. I have already received extra amount, so I am returning back that extra, so I am writing it under payment. Arrears I should receive from them, so that is why I am supposed to write it as receipts. Okay, that is the only thing that you have to do. Whenever you have information on arrears and advance, don't calculate anything. If it is arrears, put it under receipt side. If it is advance, put it under payment side. Okay. Now after this, what do? You take the balance and you give it for the equity shareholders. So after this, I have to write by equity shareholders. Okay, so before I write by equity shareholders, remember I have two classes. Okay, I have class 1 and class 2. So how do you do the calculation? You calculate your deficiency. So how do I call it as? Amount to be paid to equity shareholders. Okay, I'm not writing preference shareholders because they are already paid. So I'm calculating only for equity shareholders. So how do you calculate it? We calculate it by writing how much is the actual available balance in the problem. From this I have to minus what is the amount to be paid to equity shareholders. Okay. How do you calculate amount to be paid to equity shareholders? You have class 1 and you have class 2. First class 1000 equity shares, second class also 1000 equity shares. But this 1000 equity shares is at rupees 50 and it is fully paid. This is at rupees 40 but only 30 paid. Okay. So this will be 50,000 and this will be 30,000. Correct? This is what that we have been doing so far. So you get 80,000. Okay, I'm writing it here. 1000 equity shares, 50 fully paid, so 50,000. 1000 equity shares at 40 but paid only 30, so 1000 into 30 is 30,000. So totally I'm supposed to pay 80,000. How do you calculate your actual available balance? Receipts minus payment. Okay, so here under the receipt side I have 1,16,000 plus 4,000, from which I should minus 1 lakh plus 6,000 plus 6,000. So this is payment and this is receipts. So minus and then see how much is the available balance. 1,20,000 minus 1 lakh minus 6,000 minus 6,000. So I get only 8,000. Okay, so actual available balance in the problem is only 8,000. So when you minus, you get 72,000. What do you call this 72,000? So far we have been calling this as deficiency, the total deficiency. Okay, so total deficiency is 72,000. We usually write amount to be paid first and then we write actual balance, but I have written actual balance first here. Okay, so that is not a problem. So total deficiency is 72,000. After this, usually what do? You calculate the deficiency for per share. That is, this 72,000 is for 2,000 shares. That is what you tell. Correct? Total deficiency is 72,000. For how many shares? For 2,000. Therefore, how much is the deficiency per share? That is what you calculate. But here we cannot do like that. Why we cannot do like that? Because class 1 face value is different. Class 2 face value is different. Okay, you can follow the same steps that has been done in the previous problem only when the face value of both the classes are equal. So if you please look into the previous problem that we have done, you will see that class 1, if it is 1000 equity shares at 100, class 2 also will be 1000 equity shares at 100. So how many ever classes of equity shares you have, it is okay, but your face value should be the same. Only then you can follow the pattern what we have done so far up till problem number 13. But in this problem we cannot follow the same step because both the classes of equity shares do not have the same face value. Class 1 face value is 50 rupees, class 2 face value is 40 rupees. So in this case, when your face value is different, how you have to calculate your deficiency is, we have to use a formula, and that formula is called percentage of deficiency. How do you calculate percentage of deficiency? Is total deficiency divided by called up capital into 100. Okay, now total deficiency that we have done is 72,000. How do you calculate your called up capital? Called up capital is, I'll just do it here for the class 1 and for the class 2. Class 1, 1000 equity shares, 50 fully paid. So 1000 into 50 is 50,000. Okay. Class 2 is 1000 equity shares at rupees 40 paid, but at rupees 40 but paid only 30. Called up means how much is the company asking you to pay, calling you to pay. So that is 40,000. So my called up capital is 90,000. Okay, please do not write 30 here. Called up means how much is the company asking you to pay. That is called called up. So the company is called for 40 and the company is called for 50 here. So the total called up capital is 90,000 into 100. So 72,000 divided by 90,000 into 100. My percentage of deficiency is 80. Okay, here I am not calculating rupees, I am calculating percentage because my face value is different. So whenever your face value is different for 2 or 3 classes of equity shares, we should always use percentage of deficiency, and the formula is total deficiency divided by called up capital into 100. How do you find out your called up capital? Class 1, class 2. Class 1, 1000 equity shares and the company is asking you to pay 50 rupees, so 50,000. Class 2, 1000 equity shares, the company is asking you to pay 40, so it is 40,000. Don't consider the paid up value, consider only the face value, 40,000, so total is 90, so you get 80%. Now everything remains the same. So you have class 1 here, 80%. Class 1, 1000 equity shares at rupees 50. So at rupees 50 into 80%. So how much is 50 rupees 80%? 50 rupees 80% is 40. The rest remains the same. Okay. So here the deficiency per share is 40 minus already paid. How much they have already paid me? They have already paid 50 rupees. So this 10 rupees is something that I have to return it back to them. So this is to be returned. To be returned means where will you write? You have to write it under the payment side. Okay. I hope you all are following. This step remains the same. Deficiency per share is 40. How did you get 40? 50 into 80% is 40. How much they have already paid? They have already paid 50. Means they have paid me 10 rupees extra